ever have. We should be good.
All right, it is Wednesday, June 25th at 6 o'clock, 6:05 p.m. And it is our Heritage Festival Committee meeting. I am going to let you take over, Angela, just because you are on top of everything and just be easier.
Perfect. So, location of events has all been mostly decided upon pending any exigent circumstances. It is a compromise from last year. We tried to take all of the feedback and that we got from other groups to make sure that it was what they were requesting as well. The local road closures were approved by Village Council at the last meeting. They're much less substantial this year than they were last year. Our detour permit has been submitted. I have not received anything back on that. I meant to check the website submittal thing today, and I have not had a free second to do so. I'll try to do that if we have time before our meetings, but as of right now, it's been submitted, and I don't think there's any approval or denial on it. We're gonna fly through this really quick.
Yeah,
The Heritage Fest race, Holly has access to that with registrants. I don't know how that's going. She said she was getting people registering, so I have the race swag and the medals designed. I didn't want to order them until after July 1st in the new fiscal year because of our budget, like having the village have to transfer that. Car show, we have 21 cars registered so far. An email just went out to all of our previous registrants, and I've had like 8 since I sent that email out a couple of days ago, so they're coming in.
So we had an issue where some car shows were being told that we weren't going to be on Van Dyke and it was going to be only at the school. And then have you heard any more from that?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not heard. That was one of our local businesses alerted me to that, saying that they would not sponsor, and she did not know what the status is. All I told her was that MDOT approved it. We were waiting on the Lapeer County Road Commission, and we would adjust as needed. That was a copier telling me it's out of paper. Car show promotion is Charlie. He won't be here tonight.
Did he get that? Who is he? He's in contact with someone who does production? Or no, is it the person, the DJ?
The DJ. I got in contact with the DJ.
You were able to get in contact with him?
And
okay.
He is excited to do it. He's on board. He hasn't sent me a contract yet, but we are on his calendar, on his radar. Goodie bags, I have no update on because I don't have an update on it yet. The person who said that they would give me an update has not.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what else.
That's an honest answer.
Yep. Correct. Entertainment, we have Family Tradition Friday, Sunset Boulevard Saturday. I went to high school with Rob Stone, who graduated from Elmont, and I texted him and asked if he would want to open for Family Tradition. He texted me back and said he would get back to me as soon as possible. He thought the date was open, but he would let me know. I think that would be super fun to have a hometown boy play at Heritage,
Mhm.
but so hopefully he said he really wants to do it, and as long as they're not booked for that day, he's on board. So, and then Spindle 45, who's Glenbrook, she's a solo, and then Spindle 45 is their trio. She's gonna open for Sunset Boulevard on Saturday. Production I have set. Cornhole, I still do not have a coordinator. I've not got any response from the people I've reached out to. So that might just have to be the boards get put out there and people can play as they wish, which I personally would not be opposed to. I don't care if it's a tournament or if people are just having fun. We're flying through this. Vendors, food vendors. I reached out to quite a few food vendors that were different than the restaurants we have in town, and I have 11 so far. That's like, we have three different, we have Friday night, Saturday night, and then Saturday during the day. So that's distributed amongst it. But we have all different, we have Greek,
Did you get Polish food?
we have Polish Mania. That's including ice cream, and then Happy Fizz, which is just sodas, and Shredders, which is like all hash brown based. It's just a bunch of different things that you can't normally get. So I've been turning down anybody whose demographic or menu is like anything local. So, just our local businesses. I don't want them to compete, but I also think that for one day having things that you can, a Thai food truck, just having things that you can't get locally would be fun. So, vendor booths, I already have 10.
Oh, wow.
I think we capped it at like 20 last year. I think it was
like
21.
I thought it might have been like 20.
It might have been 24. I know that 25 was my hard limit, and we didn't meet it. So we already have 10. We have a lot of, so far, we have vendors that we have not had before. We have Motor City Flannel, which I've followed forever, and she has the cutest flannel shirts. I love them, so I'm excited that she's coming. We have a few returners, but some, like, I went to the my daughter was a vendor booth at the libraries, and so we passed out vendor information there. So we got a few from there, so I'm excited for that.
That's awesome.
Sponsorships, I'm sorry, I didn't adjust this. We emailed to all the businesses. Attached in the packet is the businesses that I went to.
Okay.
I've started physically handing out the sponsorship requests. Kids Zone is all taken care of. Committee chairs are all taken care of. I also have the license plate awards ordered. The dash plaques are ordered. And the whole ops plan by the month is listed in there. So everything that has been done or I can think of that needs to be done, and the next year or so in case, for me, and if, anything else happens and somebody else takes it over, they all have it, all of it documented. So I've been trying to add to it on what exactly needs to be done when.
Yeah. Was trying to help out more doing some of the, obviously handing out the flyers and stuff like that. I'm asking you, because you're one of the car, I don't know if you are familiar with the car shows or not, but what are some in the area that would be good to hit up and that are close by? Because I have some of those keychains. I want to give them to local people early that are the ones that like,
And John
Die Hard.
Divo has a box of them and flyers too that he said he would hand out to local car shows. He did text me and say if he couldn't get to any, could he just give them to A&W? And I said, just give them back to me and we'll make sure they
yeah.
get out. So
Okay. Do you know what night Romeo has? Does Romeo have one? Thursdays? Okay. Do you know where that's at? Okay. Oh, okay.
To my knowledge, Romeo does not have Jeep Night any longer. Yeah, it used to be right downtown, which I love their downtown.
Are there any other ones that would be good to go
Lapeer
to?
is the one I was gonna try to go to next week.
Is that Mondays?
Mhm.
Okay.
And the DDA director in Lapeer also said if I give him stuff, he can hand it out. But if I have to go out there anyways, I might as well just go talk to people.
Have you guys put them like in the motor parts stores, like down in Romeo?
I have not yet. It's on my list of things to do is get them in the auto parts store in Romeo and in Emily City. And there was somewhere else I was thinking of.
The one year when I handed them out, there was a huge show, and it was over, I want to say it's Goodrich.
Okay.
I did
It's
just,
like an hour from here, maybe.
I saw something about the Goodrich Car Show not that long ago. It just happened to pop up on something.
Spread out over the whole entire town. It's incredibly huge. And it was weather like this when I went. And it was, in fact, a lot of people were leaving because the heat was so bad. They were just pulling out.
Was that for this past year or last year?
It would be 2 years ago.
2 years? Okay.
2 years ago.
How do they do that then? Do they just do it on like the main roads or do they park cars on the side streets?
They do the side streets, they do parking lots, they do, if I remember right, it was a huge parking lot. And it wasn't a school, it was a field. So it was just a field and it was in the downtown area. Like the shops were in one area and then let's say like a street or two over was this huge field. As you drove in, I remember coming down the main thoroughfare and there was signs saying car show and you just turned and then you went down that street and there was cars and then when I was trying to park there was cars and yeah, there was, I think they said there was like 300 or 400 cars.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was wondering because when I went to the Lapeer one last year, they were parking, like they kept expanding their road closure barricades and like people were parking down the side streets too. And I was wondering that it just seemed more chaotic than what ours was. It seemed like it was more like they weren't planning for like that, but that's apparently how they do it every year. It seemed like the lady there felt she was just very calm and like this is normal. And so I was wondering, do people care that much
they're
about
expanding
the roads like that much, or do, like in terms of like the cars too, like is it more important just to have them really close to each other even if they are on side streets rather than having it like expanded?
Well, but here's your other thought. You have an entire festival. You have other things that are going on.
Yeah.
This over there was a car show.
Yeah.
It was just a car show. Yeah, so.
That's true.
I have been vocal since last year that I am very apprehensive and nervous about. I know the goal is to always grow, but we don't have the room to grow. And I have been very apprehensive about other agendas to make this substantially bigger because we do not have the space to make it substantially bigger. So I am happy with what it is, and if we do not get more cars than last year, I will not be personally, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but I personally will not think that that is a bad thing. I think that we had a great turnout last year, and I think that anything, I don't want this to sound bad. I don't, everybody wants things to grow, but I feel like we were at our capacity, and I don't know where we would put cars, and I don't know how we would even manage it. So I was happy. I think that I don't want, if the goal is to make it significantly bigger, I don't know how to attain that.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, it's more about enhancing or making the patrons, their experience better and offering different things each time if we can, but not changing it too much, whether it's changing up kids' activities or games or offerings if we did something free for kids one year, or if it's about the vendors and making vendors or getting the different food trucks. Like that's something different this year. That's going to be a different experience for a lot of people from last year. They're not just going to be coming to see the pizza guy where you're getting these different people, different vendors coming in, not just having the same old people where they're like, this is the same stuff I saw last year, and things like that. And that's what I think our focus needs to be on, and also trying to make the actual location of events the same each year, but that's a work in progress.
Do I just jump in, raise my hand?
You can jump in, but just
Yeah.
1 second. No offense, Aaron. I know you're the car show guy. I love the car show. I'm not a car girl. I have learned to love it, and I am trying my best, but I would like to get the Heritage Fest back to family, like more things for the family to do. If you're not a car person, there are other things for you to do. And I think that 2 years ago, maybe there was like, I don't know. I think the last 2 years have went well. I just think that last year compared to the year before, people were kind of wanting something more for family, especially kids, and I would like it to be a fun for everybody and things for everybody to do. And if you don't have an old car and you don't have anything you're entering to the show, you still want to come downtown and participate.
I couldn't agree more, especially if it's a Heritage Festival.
Right. It's not just a car show. Correct.
Yeah. We've definitely, the car show, I'm sure there's little things that each person will say that we can tweak to make better, but overall, I think that with the input from our volunteers and the car guys and the board, it's turned into something where you can't really, if you're a car guy, you can't really complain much. I mean, like you have the main street, and it's shut down, goodie bags. We had that Formula One car, and I feel like it's always going to be that, it's always going to be
yes.
Car show. And then what else can we do?
And I think that we have, I love our car show, guys. So anybody watching this is not a negative. I just think we have, the last couple of years have really catered to what can we do to bring car show guys in. And I would like to kind of shift the focus back to, yes, there's a car show involved in Heritage Festival, but this is not just about the car show. And not saying that we've done anything wrong. I just think we've really made the car show the sole focus when it should be a part of the event and it should be a part of the festival, but there are other ways we can engage families besides the car show is a very particular demographic of people, and we need, we just want to add to it to engage our local community more. I hope it. I really don't want to offend anybody.
No, I don't think you're. I feel the same way. I'm like, I don't want anybody to think that, like, I think that they're.
No, I want
like
them to come, and I have admittedly did not know a thing about cars a couple years ago, but I have learned to enjoy it and love it. But I just, growing up in Elmont, that was never the focus of Heritage Festival, and it has become the focus because it brings people in, and I get that and I embrace it and I love it. I just want to make it a more well-rounded.
It brings a certain group of people in.
Right.
It's not going to necessarily bring families in that have small kids and that, are looking for family events, kid games, stuff like that.
Yep.
Now, I'm here tonight. I don't think it's a secret that I'm not a fan of shutting down. But I'm also not going to fight about it fight for it, because the businesses that tend to call me and talk to me and everything, if they're not going to show up here and state their business, then that's their problem, okay? But knowing that and the commotion that it kind of causes that day, getting back to over the years, I've worked a lot of festivals, and it was always about the entire town. It wasn't about just between Washington Street and Branch Street or whatever they are down there. And that's what it has become, the focus now. And I'm wondering if there's ever going to be a homecoming again. Who knows? And that was our specialty. And we did everything from the park to the high school. Now, 3 of my friends have old cars. And I say old cars, these cars are worth $80,000 plus, okay? The last thing he said he wants is kids on bikes riding around his car. He does not like it downtown. But again, if he's not here, so be it. But I know also that you can use some volunteers here. And I had spoke to a couple people about this, and in the end, the car guys, my 3 friends, they all said, why isn't it at the high school? And I said, because it's not in the DDA district. Well, then when the PTA had their color run, I don't know if you guys saw that, I know you did, I thought that was hysterical. But it hit me, why not hand the car show, or at least get the PTA to put it out at the high school, and then split the funds, whatever. I'm just saying, focus down there, then promote it. We know there was not 500 cars here last year, okay? And so I know that the true number was more in the 300s, which I think is still a fantastic car show, but somebody wasn't content in having that. So knowing that you could shoot for the moon if you're saying you don't have the road downtown. The other thing that boggles my mind is you shut down M53, and then you have the side streets no through traffic. And a friend of mine who shows a very old car, but he walks with a walker, and he did not come to the show because he didn't know how to get there. He didn't know where he was going to park. He didn't know where he was going to be. He said, I can't leave my car up here. And, So he was concerned and he backed out at the last minute. There's just lots of little things. You have lots of room down there. And then this is just me thinking, you could have your tractors either in the park, you could have an antique tractor show. There's a lot of antique tractor clubs out there. Or have them at B&W. Or utilize the entire town. And I think by utilizing more, because that is the DDA district, but it kind of gets forgotten. And all the focus, and the other thing that blows my mind is downtown is literally the stores. A lot of the stores aren't going to be open because there's no use, okay? So for the DDA to, per se, be for the community and be for the businesses, you're shutting down a lot of businesses on that day. I think if you try to, for instance, I was saying A&W, what if you had the tractor show over near the farm and garden store? Or something, the petting zoo or something over there, and spread it out. And a lot of people say, well, then you lose the business, but your families, no, you would utilize, and I think what you would do is you would be promoting the Heritage Festival. You get more people involved, you'd get more people excited. These stores or the PTA, if they saw an event just like their color run, they'd probably say, hey, let's do this that day. Or, let's do something else, sell something, have the Girl Scouts there, the cheerleaders. You know what I'm saying? The more you spread it out, the more different, the variety of people you're going to get involved. You have the church doing probably their pancake breakfast, correct? You could have, I just think there could be so much. And if you utilize the whole area. The Lions Club, who knows? Maybe they would do something down there. You gotta get beyond the downtown. And I also know the other thing that I wanted, and I'm not, the person that run this for, was it 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, whatever it was, she never lost any money. She didn't gain a lot of money, but you guys know as well as I do, you're not supposed to make a lot of money. But she never lost any. And I know you guys, and it wasn't you guys, it was one particular person that caused it. And you guys lost a lot of money. And it's more than what I thought it was. And that blows my mind. So that needs to be pointed out because they can state that they had 500 entries and it was such a huge success and it was on the front page and all that other stuff. But he doesn't talk about the losses and how much it costs this community. And at that, you have your businesses over here. McDonald's lost $7,000 to $9,000. You had Binkiers made the comment that they didn't make enough to pay their employees. You had Farm and Garden said they lost $10,000 to $12,000. And but that's hearsay because they're not here to back it up. And I just think instead of making enemies or irritable situations, I think it should be embraced. And you want to truly, and I know what you're doing, you just want everybody to get along. And it would be great. But I think if you spread it out, you wouldn't, not only, I just see a lot of things. You got the vet clinic down there. What if they did the petting zoo in the parking lot of the vet clinic? Tie in the businesses with what you're trying to promote. And you could have an ice cream social. You're talking about all these different trucks and that. Down in Romeo, they have, at the Beach Festival, they have, I'm sure you guys know, it's something like Beer Around the World or something like that. What if you had these vendor trucks all set up somewhere and it's literally, I don't know what you'd call it, but you have your different ethnic groups and meals and that.
I personally love the way downtown Romeo is set up. Also, downtown Armada, I think, is set up really nice. We're really blessed to have all of the through traffic that we have, but M53 is very busy. I love what you're saying that we should spread it out amongst the DDA district. And I'm not disagreeing with it. I just also, even if it wasn't for the full 8 hours of the day, I would love for 53 to be closed for a couple of hours. Even if it wasn't the whole day, I think some of my favorite moments of my entire life are seeing all of the kids and families. I'll be honest, last year was crazy. I did not get to enjoy it that much, but 2 years ago, seeing all of the families thanking us because their kids got to wander around across Van Dyke, those are some of the favorite moments of my life. So I would be completely willing to shift. I just my personal opinion is that even if it wasn't for as long as we have it, if there was a couple of hours where we could have 53 closed and have, even if we didn't have the car show in Van Dyke, we had it somewhere else, if we could just have people be able to not worry about crossing the street.
Romeo does it, and they have the Peach Festival. You just know when you're going through town, it's slow down.
And that, well, then that's the other thing.
Yeah.
If we could have some kind of
Very. If you
something that worked better than what we've had in the past, like slow down, there's people downtown, because any event we have had people almost get hit.
Absolutely.
I mean, that anybody who's lived here knows at that light,
Yes.
people don't always. Every time I'm at the light, I wait a solid 5 seconds before I go if I'm on one of
There's
the,
that orange light
because
that goes through.
they,
Yeah.
and I've seen people almost get hit or physically get hit crossing that street. So I know that does play into my own personal, like, I don't ever want anybody, but especially a child's hit, because we need more traffic control. We need to figure out how, just during our everyday events besides just Heritage Fest, to figure out how to.
Homecoming, and we try to have shuttles. And the one shuttle, if there's more shuttles available nowadays, but you could, we did golf carts one year, and if you saw somebody and it was, you want to ride down there, but we had something going on all over this town, and it was a lot of fun, because you literally look at the map and go. They even had, it was, I don't know what to call them, it's an old style of baseball. It was a team that played the old baseball. But yeah, that was going on. There's just a whole lot that you could do, and I think you would get more volunteers. You'd get more people excited about it, and yes, you would have your car show, but you'd also have, like, you could have I think we used to do the kids games on the west side of the road, because Burley Park was used for pony rides and stuff like that.
Which is not allowed, by the way.
Okay.
We got so much backlash for having, and I didn't even have anything there, that we had animals on Burley Park before, and that was when I walked into this, that was the one thing that I was told, like, by several people, that it was an abomination that there were ever animals on Burley Park. So that was the one thing that I was warned about going into this, that do not have animals anywhere.
And have them on the west side. You
And-
could have your blow up. Remember, they, one year they had a bungee thing.
Yep,
Right there
yep.
at the Four Corners.
And I would love, since I've been in this position, I've said I would love to have a carnival again, like when I was a kid, and we would have it by Hideaway. Those are some of my, and I know that was just during homecoming, but I think it would be fun for the community to have.
Carnivals are hard to get. They want a 5-year contract.
Yeah, they are, and they're expensive.
But those blow up things.
But if we
kids
had,
have a ride.
we could have something that's not carnival rides, but we could have all different.
Your dunk tank, you could have the blow up items. You could have your petting zoo down by the Congregational Church. By the way, do you know that there's a new group here in Alma, and they rent it's without?
The animals? Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. It's not the rescue.
Well, they just posted yesterday or today that they are going silent, so.
Oh, the rescue?
But yes, I do know of the new
Okay.
place, yep.
Just met them. No, but that's just my 2 cents. I just wanted, I know that, it's always hard to get volunteers. Worked in this town a long time, and it seems like it's always the 6, 8 people that do the whole thing. And when I saw that color run, and I saw the workers that they had, you had your kids involved, and everybody had a ride. And even if they did another one of those, or something like that, you know, to utilize that space, there's just a whole lot that could happen. And if you want to do that, I would help drum up some ideas.
On it, I
Yeah.
think that, I know that the only thing that was, when I was working even with Kim, when we were at it down at the park, it was always the thing about spreading it out was wanting to have walkability and how much, and that's what I was saying about the car show, like how much does that have an effect on people? Like, are they willing, do they just choose one thing over the other and not enjoy the whole thing if it's not walkable to them, if it's in different areas, how much, but I know that there's obviously more parking available outside of just the small downtown, the central business district. So I think that's something that is considered along with all of the positives too.
And I think we all want, I don't think there's a single person on the, again, I don't want to speak for everybody, but feel it comfortable doing it in this context. We all want the entire community in DDA district and outside the DDA district, like our entire area to succeed. And I would love if we could find a way to encompass everybody and not have anybody feel like they are being left out or being that they're losing out. I really would love to encompass everybody. I just feel like we need to figure out how that's possible. Like Melissa said, the one thing I have heard, and I will say, I think 2 years ago, I think last year I was pulled in too many different directions during the festival. So I don't know that I have a good outlook on it because I was in a million, I feel like I was like all over the place the entire time and I didn't even get like a good view on it. But 2 years ago, the one thing I heard from families and things were that they loved that they could walk to all of it. I would love to find a way to incorporate, even if we like, I don't know, I'm just throwing this out, even if we like rented a trolley or something and got people to shuttle people. Like I loved growing up, I loved homecoming. Even my last homecoming, 2015, I had just had my second, and one of my favorite memories with my oldest is sitting outside in her backyard watching the fireworks. Like homecoming, I loved it. I would love to incorporate as much of the DDA district as we possibly can. I think that a lot of what we're, especially our board is a newer board is doing is trying to find out what works and what doesn't. So,
Well, and I think you guys don't have tunnel vision where somebody else did. And the other thing I'm going to come right out and say it is if you do or try to do what you did in the last 2 years and it doesn't come across successful, you know who's going to be dancing. So why not change it up totally and make it a success in a totally different way?
that's kind of why I wanted to say, like,
Well, you can't say it.
I said last year, And actually, I think I said 2 years ago, like, I know you guys have big goals. I do not think we can fit anymore, especially last year. Last year was, I enjoyed it. I'm glad all of the I don't want that. I'm so sorry if this comes across as offensive. I do not mean it. I love all of them coming. I want them all to come.
Please everybody.
But we reached last year's capacity was basically at, so if we did not grow any, and I said this last year, I would not be
Mhm.
hurt. I want them all to come back, but
Well, I think it's on the radar of every kind of person now, especially for weather's good.
Yeah.
Because we've had great weather down here.
and the problem though is that the car people were, and like I said, 2 years ago was like my honeymoon and I like just loved everything. And then last year I was very aware and I was front and center of everybody having issues. A lot of the car guys were very upset if they were, because we only go north and south, it stretches, it stretched a long way. I drove once from the north to the south, and if you were at the north or south end, those car guys were not happy. And that's not on us. That's, they came
Can't
at,
show up at 10.
right, you can't show up right at the end and expect, but they,
They should know that.
mhm. I have my own.
Something else.
Trauma from car
I
show
had a
guys.
chance to talk. You don't realize what goes on the bypass. The first year, they had an accident. We had a 6-point buck get hit on Kid Road. And the guys jumped out of the vehicle, took pictures of it. This thing's sitting like a dog, 10 feet off the road. And I got a phone call. I went and parked my Jeep in front of it. It took about a half hour. Police had to come and shoot it. And traffic going around. You have a 25-mile-an-hour zone. Now, when this first went on, you didn't have that subdivision. When that bypass was built, you didn't have,
Drakeshire?
you didn't have Drakeshire down there. You didn't have access from the park out to Drakeshire. You didn't have all those family homes there. Now that's all built up. And then you have events at the OP, in the soccer field and stuff like that on Saturdays. And you have families, and don't ask me why, they still insist on walking in the road. But you have a 25-mile-an-hour zone all the way from that school, all the way down to Huff, almost just a little bit past Drakeshire. And then it just goes to 30. But that's a real pet peeve of mine. You've got people at Drakeshire, kids that are used to running across that street to go to the park. And now you have traffic. The other thing is, you should sit and watch the semis trying to make the turn to turn right onto Kidder from Tubb Spring. They have to wait until somebody realizes that they need both lanes. It's bizarre. And the traffic backup and that. And it's little things like that.
I do not disagree at all with what you're saying. I think we all fully recognize the
There's
issues.
the pros and the cons.
There are, and I think we've, I don't know.
We've done our best
I
to,
don't really want to talk about past years because we all know that there was a bunch of other factors, people's
Yep.
involved. I think I recognize and I've been told many times by many different people, the impact that the detour has. I don't love the detour either. I would love to find some kind of compromise where we could make sure people were safe downtown and not have to detour. The reason that I personally loved Van Dyke closed for a brief moment once a year was because I could see people pushing strollers across van. Like, I loved the family atmosphere. I loved that people felt like they didn't have to be on guard or stay on the sidewalk or only stay on one side of Main Street and were scared to cross. I loved that aspect. I would love to find some kind of,
Just a minute, you have how many police that have to keep the roads closed and police the area? What if you had, I don't know how many cars, 2 cars at the 4 corners, and when you had a group of people to cross, and that light was red, you had them cross safely from one side to the other. But you've got a mile of sidewalks to walk, strollers and everything else, and between everything that would be going on. And I know that I would like to see more for the kids, because I know somebody that drove from Toledo to put his card in, he brought a 6-year-old, and when he got here, he couldn't find anything for her to do.
I mean, I think, and I can only speak for Holly, Melissa, and myself, but we all have kids, and I've wanted nothing more than, I mean, we've incorporated more stuff for kids for holidays, because I think that I love this community with my entire being. We have been sorely lacking my entire life here in things for kids and adolescents to do. We just have. We've never had a besides for the cyber cafe briefly, we've never really had anything for kids to do. So I want nothing more than for our holiday and heritage to give kids, and we haven't really done much for teens, but for kids and families, a thing to do.
I'm glad I got a chance just
Yeah.
to tell you what.
Yeah,
My
appreciate it.
ideas.
Yeah, and I like your ideas. I am right on board with Angela. If there's a way for us to incorporate some of those ideas.
Could you imagine if you could hand off the car show to these guys, and you guys could focus on doing?
I could not imagine, because
I know.
so much of
Yeah.
my life has been consumed by it. But
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
a major draw. I know that.
it has, and especially the last, well, this is only my 3rd year, so I can't speak beyond that, but it seemed like it's become the singular focus, and I'll just speak for myself. I want to bring it back to the heritage. I love the car show. I love it. I love the addition. I love the crowd it brings. I would love for it to become more community centric again, and incorporate, grow. Like, we have the car show now, it's established. Bring everything else back. I would love to incorporate the entirety of the DDA district. We just have to figure out how. And I think all of us are on the same page on every year we're gonna
I think if you focused on trolleys.
figure out. I would love a trolley, and the director of the LDC, hopefully he's not watching this, has sent me and the Emily City DDA director and the Lapeer DDA director a trolley for sale, and asked if the LDC should buy it to shuttle. And I was like, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely do that.
Mhm.
Please
But
buy
you
it.
could do that. What if you had people with horses and buggies, if they wanted to come make their own money?
I would love that too.
Mhm. All right, well, it looks like we have about 5 minutes left. Is there anything else that you needed to bring up before?
No, that's it. I just have to start a new
Yes.
Yep,
recording.
then we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we will start our regular meeting.
Oh, perfect. I actually have to pass this out.
Good. Yeah, well, it's because I still don't have any appetite left. Yeah. So
Well,
I'm
I
still
don't-
losing weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually, I got blood work done today. I'm due back to the doctor next week. So they want to take my gallbladder, and I'm waiting to talk to him, to see what he has to say.
Yeah. Well, you want to see him sound it, that's for sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, unfortunately, especially when you get older, it's